Howdy folks, welcome to the brewery. Brew day, and today I'm doing the corn ale from Year of Beer. So this is beer I've done a couple of times in the past. It's always a popular beer with the punters. I enjoy it. It's an absolutely cracking summer beer. Bit of a variation on the standard cream ale or Mexican cerveza style, and that it contains a lot more corn than those sort of brews where they're normally sitting around 10 to 20% corn. This is 40%, 60% pale base, 40% flake corn. That's it. Mashes in and runs through nice and simple. Lightly hopped. Talk about that just a little bit later on. But yeah, this is a fantastic summer beer. We're into almost the end of the second week of spring. It's going to be getting late September before this brew is finished. Give it 8 weeks to condition nicely. Bang, it's ready for the start of summer. Perfect. Yeah, got water on, up the temp, it's been treated. Let's go get mash on. Righto. Time to mash. We're at mashing temp. 66 degrees. Start off with 2.6 kilos of Voyager Pale Schooner. Any ale malt of your choosing. Go an ale malt. Don't do this with a Pilsner malt. It's not going to have enough to carry the final beer. It's a very light beer, but still want a little bit of malt underneath it. Okay, so malt is in. .73 kilos of flake corn. And I'm flying a little bit crazy. No rice hulls. Seen a few brewers recently doing Mexican style beers or cervezas, beers with corn, and they've been awfully scared about getting stuck mashes and it gets gluggy and whatnot. And it can get a bit gluggy, but see how we go. I will stir this mash probably a bit more than I just normally stir a mash. But anyway, I'll probably give this a stir about every 10 minutes just to help avoid that. But right now, 66 degrees for 40 minutes. Righto, that's our first mash step done. We'll raise this now up to 75. And we'll give that another half an hour. As I said, I've given this a bit of a stir about every 10 minutes. Let's just get a bit of a rough idea where we're travelling. That says 10:44. So I've no idea what we targeted in for. We've still got a smart sparge, but target's 10:41 pre-boil, so we're rolling alright. No, sorry, target's 10:41 post-boil, so yeah, we're looking good. We'll continue on our way. So it would appear that no rice hulls has been hurt. So all good. see you for the sparge. Righto, mash is over. Time for sparge. It's been a while since I've lifted a bloody decent sized mortar pot. Get up there, bucket. Righto. Top plate on, just to make the process a little bit easier. And then I've now got about 10.5 litres of water to sparge with. And that's flowing at a slowish, steady pace, which is good. Add a little bit of drama. I got to put the malt pipe in when I mashed in. So discovered that just before the end of the sparge. So at the end of mash out. So had to tip everything out, give it a quick clean, put it back in, back to temperature, and we're continuing on. Bloody seamless. But yeah. One of them bloody things, you know? Check what you're doing. Anyway, so we'll sparge this brew, and then we'll bring it to a boil. We'll level it shortly at pre-boil volume, gravity, how we're travelling, and we'll talk about the hops. Oh no, hot break. I wish there's not a real lot because there's not a massive amount of malt in there. That's all good. Yeah, might as well get our bittering addition in. Okay, boil is underway. Bittering addition has just gone in. That is 11 grams of Gallina for 60 minutes. That's going to be there for the whole boil. That's 14 IBU. Not a big IBU, but it's not a small IBU either, given the malt base we're working with. Previously I've had the IBU a little bit higher. I don't recall ever being an issue. I can't actually find a lot of information on my videos. I don't know what happened anyway. So that's gone in now. There will be a 5 gram addition of Citra with 20 minutes to go for about 4 IBU. At that point we'll drop in some yeast nutrient and some Warflock, and with 5 minutes to go I will drop in 27 grams of lemon drop to get us 3 IBU late and bring a, some nice lemony tones into the brew. Also mentioned I did add 1 gram of cooking salt, canning salt, in with the mash chemicals, just to bring the salt level up a little bit. I have done this previously at 4 grams in the batch, and it was a little salty. I didn't mind it, but it was a little salty. I think the 1 gram is going to add a very light amount. It's going to be probably, not overly perceivable, but it's going to be there. I think it'll work nicely. So that's where we're going. We've got Bang on target for pre-boil, 28 litres. We are 1 point over on expected gravity. That's going off the reef rack, so that could adjust. But we were looking for 10:38. We had 10:39. No, sorry, looking for 10:37. Had 10:38. So we're looking good. So we'll come back now. Let's have a quick look at this once boil's completed. She's cooled and it's in the fermenter. We'll see what our final numbers are. Righto, we are done.
We are done.
We are done. I've got the apprentices helping me to finish off.
What we already got.
So we've got 11 litres, or fraction over and maybe a fraction under just there. But 11 litres, we've got 22 all up. So we finished up a litre under target. Well, target was 23. But it come down as a boil off with an extra litre. So it's all good. Let's get Let's get a gravity reading here. There's my little apprentice coming through. You got there, righto. And we are at 10:42. 10:42. We're looking for 10:41. And we're off a litre, so we're pretty bloody close. I'm happy. I'm very happy with that. Are you happy with that, young Vance?
Yeah.
Yes, excellent. Okay, so we're going to pitch one packet of Cellar Science. What's this?
I don't know.
Remember? What is it? Most important thing for making beer?
Yeah.
Yeah, what is it?
I don't know.
We talk yeast.
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 Yeast, that's the one, okay.
It made me go cold.
12 grams of Cellar Science Cali yeast, which is basically USA 5 or
Why
thereabouts.
are we going in there?
Because that's going to make our beer. That goes in there. And in this one, 25 grams of W3470. So we're going to do a lager version, we're going to do an ale version. Ale version will go in the fridge at 16 degrees for 4 days. This will go into the other fridge 12 degrees for 4 days. Then, actually this will go for 5 days. Then they're both going to go to 20 for a couple of days to finish off. Then we'll cold crash. Looking to ferment for 12 days. That's the target. We'll see how we go. But yeah, day's gone great. Apart from the muck up with not putting the malt pipe in, day's been good. Yep, that tells us what temperature it is, and the temperature is 20 degrees. 20 degrees. That's good for pitching yeast.
Yeah.
Yep. We're gonna get these, put them in the fridge.
Yeah.
Get them down to ferment temp.
Yeah.
Put some lids on and get them doing their thing. So I'll be back very soon, and we'll do a tasting. See you then. Oh, hang on, you're one step ahead. We've got to get some plates and things going on first, and we've got to sanitise that before we put it in. Righto? Oh. Sanitation, very important. Very important, yes. Righto, tasting. It's now the 5th of November. These fellas were kegged up on the 26th of September. So they are about 5.5 weeks old. I would have got a tester on these a little bit earlier than this, but I haven't been able to get them into the keg fridge. This is the ale version, the traditional method of brewing this beer, done with that the Cellar Science Cali yeast, basically USA 5. A new variation that's available. And this is the lager version, done with 3470. Both batches were 11 and a half litres, original gravity 1042. Just quick run on ferment. They went in at the ale at 16 degrees, the 3470 at 12 degrees. No pressure on them initially. 4 days in, they were both sitting at 1022, so both had dropped 20 points of gravity. At that point I raised both up by 4 degrees, the ale to 20 and the lager to 16. 3 days later, The Cali was sitting at 1012, the 3470 was sitting at 1008, and I put them both into the same fridge and equalised the temperature at 19 degrees. They sat there for 3 more days. The lager didn't change, it remained at 1008. The Cali had come down another 2 points to 1010, then went ahead with a cold crash. And kegged on day 14, that's on the 26th of the 9th. The lager version's been on tap for about 3 weeks. I got it on. The ale's been on tap for about a week. It took a little bit longer to get on. It's very similar. Colour-wise, there's not a lot of difference. The lager version is a tad clearer. There's a little bit of murky haze in there, but they are clear. Like they are clear. There's no doubt about that. They're just not crystal. But I think that's just solely because it's had an extra 2 weeks cold in the fridge, and that's been a notice. Both pouring a nice head. It's sticking around reasonably well. Smell wise, pretty much exactly what you expect. Sweet, corny, malty nose. Little bit of the citrusy note from that citra and the lemon dropped the one in late. There's a little bit more nose on the lager version. It's just a little bit more, not a lot, but it's just a little bit more of the hop coming through. Anyway, let's go for the ale version. It's just doing what it always does. It's a simple, clean, easy beer. Got some nice little sweet malt there. There's a little bit of citrus on the back end. It's refreshing. There's a little bit of saltiness from both the chloride level and the addition of salt into the brew. Not a lot of salt on this version. That's just a really nice, easy summer beer. Exactly what you expect. The Cali's done a good job. There's no noticeable weird flavours there. There's nothing, out of the ordinary. Nothing you really don't want to keep feeling. So that initial 4 days at 16 hasn't hurt it. Getting it down that little bit lower. I sort of normally do this with 5, and it's never had an issue. I normally do it at 15, 14 degrees. So it's in that ballpark. And like I said, it's a light lager-like finish. As I said, sitting just a little higher on the final gravity than his lager mate here. That's it, yeah. There's just a little bit more of the hops on the nose, and that's probably given that that extra 2 points of gravity drop, just allowing a little bit more of the hops to come through, where it's taken away a little bit more of the malt presence from underneath. And again, that clarity has possibly contributed somewhat to that, but it's tiny. That's nice. That's a little bit cleaner, a little bit, well, it's not smoother as such, but it's definitely got a cleaner body. It's a little bit lighter. It's a tad crisper, and again, it's all little amounts. But the lager is doing that job. The 3470's making that nice, soft, crisper beer that you use it for. That's what it's there for. it's got a little bit more attenuation. It's taken a little bit more of the sugar out. It's gotten rid of a little bit more sweetness and lighten the body up as part of that process. So this gets you down into the more, you know, the traditional, or the, you know, what you expect to get with a cerveza, light bodied. You know, not a massive amount going on, even though there is a lot more here than there is in your average, you know, store-bought cerveza. But it's still keeping within, you know, the realms of what you expect. So if you give this to somebody who's coming to the house and you go, here's a cerveza, they're not going to go, hang on, that doesn't taste anything like what I'm expecting to get. Yeah, it's going to be different. %40 corn is quite a considerable amount different to, you know, the 10, 12, 15% that they're using in, you know, most commercial cervezas. So there is much more of that corn presence, that corn sweetness there, and that throws a lot of people. A lot of people don't really like the corn sweetness, which is where going for the lager yeast is certainly going to get you a result you'll be more happy with. If that's the kind of position you're in, if you don't like that corn's, you know, if you're not a massive fan of the corn sweetness, or you pick it up a little bit more, because there's definitely not as much of the sweetness there, even though it's only 2 points. That's definitely much less sweet than the ale version. That's more robust, and again, even though it's only just 2 points, it is noticeably more robust. There is a deeper flavour there. There is more note there, more malt, a little bit more of the hop playing in this one. But again, you know, as for year of beer brew, I've really not changed this in any great way, other than, yeah, just really what the base malt was. The hopping and everything's sort of fairly similar to what I always play with. It's in that general vicinity. And the reality is, hop wise, you could interchange the Citra and the lemon drop for all sorts of things. You could flip in here. You could flip in some Strata, some Galaxy, even a little bit of Amarillo, some Eldorado, to get a little bit more. Like the Amarillo is going to get you a bit more of the traditional fruit. Eldorado might bring in a little bit more tropical sort of notes, a bit more, you know, melony sort of stuff. That all work, but either way, I'd be making sure I had at least one of the Citra or one of the lemon drop. Interchange one or the other, but I wouldn't be interchanging both. They work really well. The Gallinar, which I've used for bittering, is a very difficult hop to get these days. It's hard to find, and so most brewers, realistically, you probably want to just go for a Magnum. You know, so just something nice and clean. The Gallinar does add a little bit of authenticity, as far as I'm concerned. It was always the basic hop of Corona. It was the original hop. I'm not convinced these days they actually use Gallinar anymore. I do believe they've changed it. But yeah, for me, I've always used it and it works really well. It's the only beer I use it in, is a corn-based ale, a cerveza style. So if you can get it, get it. This was the last of my Gallinar, and it was, I think, something like 5-6 years old. Actually, possibly older, because that was a hop I bought. I did a bulk purchase from Yakima Valley directly years ago, when the only way of getting bulk hops into the cheap was to go directly to the States and buy them like 5 kilos at a go. And I think I bought like half a kilo of Gallinar, so it's taking me that long to get through it. So if you can get it, go for it. If not, go for Magnum. That 12 IB up front works nice. You could slap another 2 or 3 IBU up front, just to give it a little bit more hit, and push a little bit more of the sulfate in the salts to bring up a little bit more of the bitter hit up front and to make it even a little bit more snappy. But for me, this really works. And as it is, I don't think I'd be making any changes on this recipe going into the Year of Beer book. Yes, I said you can play with this, no doubt. But as it stands, it gets 2 thumbs up from me. 4.2% in the keg, 4.5% in the keg. You can play with the levels to get your ABV a little bit higher or a little bit lower. But for me, that's a nice level. I don't want a beer any stronger than that if I want to be drinking, you know, a decent amount of it, you know, in summer. I prefer anything. I prefer it down on that lower side, in the lower 4s. But that's me, and that's because I don't drink every day of the week. I drink less days a week than I do actually drink, and I feel the effect a little bit more than I ever used to. Yeah, so I tend to tone most of my beers down a little bit more these days than I ever used to. So you could increase your base number, get your original gravity up a little bit higher, and bring it up into the high 4s, up around 5 if you wanted to. I don't know if I'll be going too much higher than that. I don't think the beer itself will particularly support a higher alcohol content without some reasonable playing around with the other factors in the recipe, like the hops and and possibly even the water chemistry. As is, it works. Just works really good. 2 thumbs up from Little John. I know because people are going to want to know, do I have a favourite version? Probably depends what day of the week it is, in all honesty. They're both very, very nice beers in their own context. Given that the beer is a corn ale, it's not a cerveza, it's not a Mexican lager, the ale version wins out. But that lager version is really, really nice as well. And that's probably a beer that more of the mega swill drinkers are going to take to. I'm going to take that accept that a little bit easier than that, just because it's a little bit lighter and it's a bit more what they're expecting. It's not got quite the oomph that does. As much oomph as a 40% corn ale has. But anyway, guys, that's it. You got any comments or any questions, stick them down the bottom. Patrons of the channel, guys, thumbs up as always. There's a link down the bottom, Patreon. Patreon lets me play around and do all the experimenting and stuff I do on the channel. If it wasn't for Patreon, I wouldn't be doing it all. So check it out if you're interested. Help out Little John, keep the channel going. If you subscribe to the channel, thank you. If you aren't subscribed, hit the subscribe button down below, ring the notification bell. Then you don't miss any videos. And like, you don't want to miss the videos. They're all fabulous. Every single video. Riveting, fabulous, entertaining. They're good. You get to spend some time with me. Apparently the wife says that's a good idea. She stuck with me for 30 years. Today, 30-year anniversary today. I think she's a saint for doing it, but she's done it. Reckons it wasn't that much of a struggle. So anyway, if you like the video, give me a thumbs up. Even if you got this far and you like the fact that bloody Little John's managed to stay married for 30 years, give me a thumbs up. But anyway, that's me, Little John. I'm out of here. Year of Beer, corn ale, bloody ripper of a beer. Try it yourself. So until I see you on the next video, when we brew and beer, drinking beer, talking beer. Good brewing.